It looked like more evidence is coming out about Bria Hartley and the Sophie Cunningham attack.
This is Bria Hartley right here, grinning from ear to ear with Sophie Cunningham smiling. You guys are gutless.
Bria Hartley just walked straight into the fire after a single photo of her laughing while Sophie Cunningham lay screaming on the floor went viral. Fans are now demanding answers, and Sophie's family has gone scorched earth with their response. That so-called smirk is quickly turning into the biggest meltdown of Hartley's career.
Nobody knows who the hell y'all are if it wasn't for your dirty, cheap shots.
The moment that set everything off wasn't just a play on the court. It was a single frozen frame. A photo surfaced showing Bria Hartley smiling, almost laughing, just as Sophie Cunningham lay on the floor, clutching her knees in pain. That image hit social media like a thunderbolt. The timing, the expression, the agony in the background. It all told a story that words couldn't.
Completely happy that Sophie Cunningham is hollering in pain right now. Look at this face.
What made this photo even wilder is how it came out. The league or the broadcasters didn't blast it. It dropped late at night, almost quietly, before fans started rewatching the game and verifying the angle themselves. Hartley appeared to be grinning in the moment Sophie was screaming on the hardwood. The contrast was brutal. Sophie in visible pain, Hartley with that smirk. It wasn't just a basketball play anymore. It became a symbol of sportsmanship gone wrong.
There was a situation that took place in the second quarter of the game, possibly at the 8-minute, 9-second mark. That is a Bria Hartley, diving into the knees of Sophie Cunningham.
And the backstory makes it even harder to shrug off. This all went down in Connecticut, second quarter, around the 8:09 mark. Bria Hartley lunged into Sophie Cunningham's knees in a way that didn't look like ordinary hustle. Sophie immediately collapsed, grabbing at her legs, the pain written across her face. For a split second, it felt like the air was sucked out of the arena. But then, the cameras just swung right back to the game, like nothing serious had happened.
It really is. There's a lot of people celebrating this injury.
That's when people really started debating. Was this just basketball? A tough physical collision that happens in the heat of competition? Or was it dirty? An intentional, reckless dive that risked someone's career. On one side, you had folks saying, come on, Sophie's not exactly an angel herself, she dishes it out plenty. On the other, the argument was simple. Diving at someone's knees isn't defense. That's dangerous, period. And hanging over all of it was that infamous photo, Hartley appearing pleased in the middle of someone else's pain.
She got hurt. Jesus, this is getting real tough to watch.
One fan wrote, evil, pure evil. Another said, suspend her immediately. Others didn't hold back, flat out calling her a piece of shirelle.
We going to just get radio silence from your leagues? Make an example out of one of these people and it will stop.
And that's what made this so explosive. Basketball has always had hard fouls, clashes, and rivalries. But this was different. A viral photo gave fans a villain and a victim in one frame. One player laid out in pain, another seemingly thrilled about it.
There's a lot of people that I've seen that has come out and said, I'm not watching another game.
Once the internet ran with that, there was no turning back. The debate wasn't just about the play anymore. It was about Bria Hartley's character, Sophie Cunningham's reputation, and the league's silence. And all of it started with one snapshot that shook the WNBA to its core.
She simply retweeted what her sister said. Now, her mom did tweet out some things as well. This is what Mama Cunningham said. She said Hartley is a disgruntled player, having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control.
Now, if you thought the internet detectives were loud, Sophie Cunningham's family was the loudest. First came Sophie's sister. She dropped a tweet so direct, so personal, that Sophie herself didn't even bother writing her own response. She just hit retweet. But it didn't stop there. Enter Paula Cunningham, Sophie's mom. And let me tell you, Paula didn't just clap back. She scorched earth. She called Bria Hartley a disgrace, an out-of-control player, and flat-out mean. Now, here's the thing. When a parent comes in, it hits differently.
Paula are calling out the league for finding players for calling out poor officiating instead of protecting players.
Fans immediately rallied behind Paula. The comments lit up with people saying she was speaking the truth the league won't say out loud. And honestly, they weren't wrong. A lot of people felt like Paula was simply saying what everyone else was thinking, but didn't have the guts to put out there. Hartley's reputation wasn't exactly spotless, and now you had Sophie's own mother throwing the spotlight right on it. That gave the whole situation a heavier emotional weight, because if your mom has to step in during your pro career, something's gone seriously sideways.
In this league, I think you're putting your career at risk because Kathy Engelbert and Adam Silver and the WNBA and the NBA will not correctly regulate this league. They won't do it. They won't keep their athletes safe.
And while all this was happening, the WNBA's leadership was silent. Not a peep. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert might as well have been on vacation. Fans were livid. You'll find players for calling out refs, but when someone dives into knees and laughs about it, nothing?
People wouldn't have a damn clue who the hell they were if they wasn't riding the coattails, right?
That was the exact tone online. The silence was deafening. And worse, it wasn't new. This wasn't the first time Sophie Cunningham had been on the receiving end of rough, borderline dirty plays. And each time nothing major seemed to happen. Fans started pointing out the pattern. Sophie keeps getting hit, Sophie keeps getting hurt, and the league keeps shrugging.
They won't do it. They won't keep their athletes safe. So, you can't count on that.
It's wild when you think about it. The WNBA can act in seconds if a player posts something spicy on social media. But when it comes to protecting players on the court, suddenly it's crickets. Fans weren't just annoyed. They were furious. One comment summed it up perfectly. The WNBA fines players for speaking up, but ignores dangerous hits. And that sentiment caught fire. The outrage wasn't just about Sophie anymore. It was about how the league handles safety, accountability, and whether the commissioner was protecting Bria Hartley more than protecting the actual product, the players themselves.
Now, Stephanie White has been vocal about all of this.
They're selfless. They're tough. They don't care who gets the credit.
Meanwhile, over on the coaching side, Stephanie White was doing her own balancing act. After the game, she gave this emotional speech about her team's toughness, unity, and selflessness. It was heartfelt, sure. She talked about players giving everything for each other, about everyone contributing whether they play a minute or not. It was the kind of locker room talk that makes for a great highlight reel. But here's the problem. She never actually addressed Sophie's injury. Not a word about Hartley's role in it. Not a word about the controversy everyone was already buzzing about.
It's crazy that people was out here doing the vicious and violence things that they're doing in sports, man, instead of making the sport entertaining.
Fans picked up on that right away. To some, it felt like dodging the issue, like a PR move designed to deflect attention. All heart, no substance, one fan wrote. Others defended White, saying she was just trying to keep the focus on her team instead of pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. Either way, it created another split. Was she protecting her player? Was she covering for the league? Or was she just staying out of the mess altogether? And while her coach was giving the safe answers, Sophie herself took the opposite approach. Subtle, quiet, and strategic. No Instagram rant, no cryptic tweet storm, just a simple retweet of her sister's words. That was it. But that move spoke volumes, because in today's media landscape, silence can be louder than any rant. It was Sophie's way of letting her family say what she couldn't, while still signaling to the world, yeah, I agree with them.
Honest people here defending Sophie, overlooking that she's also a troublemaker.
And let's be honest, that silence might have been the smartest move she could make. Sophie Cunningham has always carried a reputation for being fiery, physical, sometimes even labeled a troublemaker. If she had gone nuclear online, critics would have used it as proof to double down on that narrative. Instead, she played it cool. She let her family and her fans carry the weight of the argument. The irony here is almost poetic. Sophie the competitor is often seen as brash, sometimes even reckless on the court. But Sophie the victim, the player writhing in pain while Hartley smiled, that's an image nobody could ignore, and it created a sharp contrast that reshaped the conversation. For once, the chatter wasn't about Sophie's trash talk or her aggressive defense. It was about her being on the receiving end of something the internet branded malicious. Make sure to subscribe to the channel.